10-4 standing by. And action.
We are the Shark Brothers.
And this is Adventure in Wildlife.
Straight up like a rocket.
Nice. Oh, we did hit the cord, didn't we?
We've always lived on the wild side, and that's why we call this place home, the Charlotte Harbor Gulf Island coast.
In this series, we explore all the good nature found here in Florida's premier ecotourism destination, where our best side is outside.
Here we go. Gone.
Just down the road is a special place where the area's injured and orphaned wildlife can get a helping hand from people dedicated to their treatment, rehabilitation, and release back into the wild. In this Conservation Spotlight segment, we visit the Peace River Wildlife Center, an organization playing a vital role in the preservation and protection of Charlotte County's native species.
The Wildlife Center was established here in the Ponce de Leon Park in 1983, where its first building was placed and has been growing ever since. So we've been here for over 30 years now. We're actually one of the few wildlife centers in Southwest Florida that treats all manner of wildlife. So we not only treat birds, we also treat mammals and reptiles. Our primary goal with any animal that's treated here at the center is to get it back into the wild where it belongs. The main challenge that we face here on a day-to-day basis is being able to fund our services here at the Wildlife Center. We are a nonprofit organization. We rely on our donors and our supporters, whether it's folks that come down and donate money, make purchases in our gift shop, which all the proceeds go right to our rehabilitation services, or bringing us tangible supplies, things that we use every day. Being a nonprofit, we do have a very small paid staff, and I would say our greater force here is actually our volunteers. So we're always looking for folks that want to come down a day of the week, maybe clean cages, help in the hospital, tour guide for folks, or even work in our gift shop. Secondary to rehabilitation, our next goal is to educate the public. Our educational ambassadors are animals that are unreleasable that we've taken the opportunity to glove train so that they're comfortable going out into the public and raising awareness for the Wildlife Center. This is our great horned owl, Bella. She's actually 3 years old now. She came to us when she was about 6 months old and a fledgling. And Bella kind of serves as our example of what not to do with wildlife. She was found as a baby and hand-raised by people and imprinted, which means that she seeks out people for food and comfort. It's extremely easy to imprint these animals and make them completely dependent on people. Our rehabilitators go out of their way to ensure that any young animals that we raise here at the center are raised wild. If an animal is dependent on a person, they're not going to be very successful when we release back out into nature. It's very difficult sometimes to not get very attached to the animals that we see. Our residents, a lot of them actually have quite a long lifespan. Bella here, for example, is only 3 years old, but she could live up to 40 years in captivity. So she's one that, the attachment will last quite a long time. Some of our other animals, unfortunately, just naturally have shorter lifespans. We do have to separate ourselves sometimes. These are not pets. These are still wild animals, even though they've been trained to tolerate our existence. We would love to be able to get to the point where we could educate the public so well that we'd work ourselves out of a job. But the reality is that these animals will always face the same challenges that they've always faced.
Most of the patients we see have been injured due to man's influence in some way or another. Habitat destruction, being hit by cars, some of them even just being kidnapped by people who mean well, but they find babies, fledgling birds on the ground that they should just leave there. A lot of people think, that they're injured or something's wrong, they're orphaned, and they bring them to us when a lot of times they'd be better off just left in the wild. But when you do see animals that you think might need help, give us a call, and we can usually walk through whether the animal needs help or not. If it does need help and it is after hours, we just ask them to gather the animal up, put it in a warm, quiet, dark place, and do not feed it, because a lot of times people don't know what type of animal it is, what age or stage it's at, and we don't want to feed anything the wrong thing, because that could be much more detrimental than not eating for a couple hours. We see over 2,000 patients a year and have over 100 permanent residents here. We're open to the public for tours from 11 to 4, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We're open for injured animal intake from sun up to sundown, basically. We always have to be cognizant of the species that we're working with and what their place is in nature. You know, are they a prey animal? Are they a predator? And we have to address each one of those differently and handle them differently, obviously feed them differently. We spend probably close to $70,000 a year on food, feeding all the different species that we have here, and probably half of what we feed is donated. So the actual cost of feeding all these different species is very high. There is no federal or state funding for any of what we do. It's all by donation. So a lot of people will check our wish lists and bring us groceries for the birds or cleaning supplies or instruments that we need. And of course our number one thing is cash. It's always great because there are a lot of things that we have to purchase that people can't purchase for us. It's only been the past few years that we've been really going out into the public and made that one of our focuses, educating the public. And we're lucky enough now, we've got 3 glove-trained birds, and they really make a difference. This is Luna. He's a leucistic or albino screech owl. He was found on the ground as a little fledgling. Because Luna doesn't have any of the natural pigmentation for camouflage that he needs to hide from predators, we decided that he would be one of our education birds, and we've glove trained him, and he is probably our number one mascot at this point. He just turned 4 this year, and he's as tiny as he is an adult. Average lifespan for screech owls in the wild is about 3 years because they do have so many predators. In captivity, we're hoping for a good 10 plus years. We've had other screech owls that have lived that long. But with proper nutrition here, and he doesn't have the predators to worry about, he should live to be, ripe old age. I always get the feeling that the animals somehow know that you're trying to help them. If you maintain a sense of calm, do what you need to do decisively, quickly, a lot of times they will just melt in your hands and let you do what you need to do. One of our success stories here, we have a yellow-crowned night heron that was found in a canal. Little juvenile probably fell out of his nest. So he's been here eating well. He's ready to go now. And the main thing when handling these wild birds, usually just want to cover their faces. As soon as their heads are covered, they calm down pretty quickly. And we're going to release him right here because he came from the canal just a couple blocks down the road. And he'll fly home from here.
This is what a community caring for its surrounding environment and all its inhabitants looks like.
Everyday citizens working hand in hand with dedicated professionals, doing the kind of work that never stops.
We don't want to release him too close to the edge. We don't want him to fall in the water. I think he'll be fine. He just caught himself in a bad situation, and luckily the people saw him when he was in the canal, or he certainly would not have survived. We had him here for about a week, probably had a little water in his lungs, and when we dried him out, fattened him up, and sent him on his way. So he hoped to live a good, long, happy life here in the wild.
We thank you for joining us, and thanks to all our special guests for sharing their knowledge and know-how.
To explore our good nature, log on to pureflorida.com for all the information you need to plan your getaway.
From the Charlotte Harbor Gulf Island coast, we are the Shark Brothers. Until next time, keep it wild.